show timer right there?
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to my first episode of the build series. This is going to be a little mini series that I'll probably produce every other Monday or here and there. It'll always be on Mondays when I come out with these videos. I apologize for not having a video this last Friday. I didn't play this past weekend, but in September I'm playing every single weekend, so you guys are going to have quite a bit of videos for the next few weeks. I might come out with more than one a week. Not including this set of videos. So basically in this series I'm just going to be going over some of my builds and some of my friends' builds that we have, and then some of the ones that you see in the videos. So getting right into it, my first gun that I'm going to have in this series is my newest gun, and is also one of my favorite ones that I built. This is out of the ordinary for something that I would build because it's a pretty long gun. I run mostly CQB weapons, as you can tell by my gameplay, but this is the one gun that is definitely not a CQB weapon. In fact, it is probably one of the most controversial weapons in Airsoft. And if you've been in Airsoft, you probably know why. The M27, in some instances, is regarded as an LMG, can be used as a DMR or just a normal rifleman role. But the cool thing about it is a lot of fields do allow it and a lot of fields don't allow it for whichever role you want to play. It's only because the Marine Corps actually utilizes this weapon as an LMG in some units, to my understanding. So that's why I chose to build one, just because my local field allows for the use of the M27 as an LMG or a DMR, and I didn't have either, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to build one gun where I can do both if I wanted to. So getting straight into the externals of this build, it is nothing special. I have nothing special really going on here. It looks like basically any M27 that you would see on the field if you played with them. I have a standard birdcage style flash hider, and then on my rail I'm running Magpul OD green furniture and an AIM Sports bipod. You can adjust the length of it. It's nothing super magnificent or super fancy, but whenever I need a bipod, it is there and it does serve its purpose. Moving further back down the gun, the sight I'm using is actually not an ACOG styled variable zooming optic. It is just a red and green dot. I don't really like using optics that zoom in Airsoft, at least especially for my playstyle, and just the fields that I play, I don't really find them very useful. But I believe it is an action illuminated red and green dot, and it is one of my favorite ones. I have this on some other guns as well. Nothing else has been done to it externally as far as the stock and the pistol grip are concerned. I do like that the M27s, even the newer ones, still feature that nice large HK style stock, and if you're running this as an LMG, it is pretty nice to have a bulky stock. I'm not the biggest fan of the new 416 style stocks, even though that is how the A5s are, but the M27s still run the stock, and it is pretty awesome because the storage area inside of it, you can put whatever you need to, and if you're running it as an AEG, you can use whatever batteries you want. So another thing about the M27, since this is besides the 416 series in general, the M27 has been off and on through VFC and Elite Force, but they do have a serial number system where you can see what year the M27 is made in. Mine is made in 2017, but something special about it, especially at the very beginning, the very first batches had these, but not a lot of the newer ones, especially not the newer ones. But there were a few in 2017 that were made that didn't have the large blocks of text, like the warning text that you see on all VFC guns. This one has the actual trademarks that you would see on the M27 itself. So that was an added bonus when I got this. I actually didn't notice it until after I already had it, but it is one of the rare editions, and if you were looking for an M27 used, if you see one with the actual trades on it, go ahead and grab it, because I don't think you'll be seeing any more of those pop up anytime soon. So getting straight into the internals of this gun, I'm going to go over the barrel and a hop up first, and then I'll move to the engine and what settings I use and the rate of fire and FPS per PSI that I get out of it. Basically what I use in the barrel assembly is what I use in pretty much all of my guns except for a couple. It's a Prometheus 603 inner barrel, and I use the standard VFC hop-up unit. That's actually special to this gun and not my other ones, because I usually run different aftermarket hop-up units just because generally they are better than the stock ones. But in this case, the stock one works just fine for what I am doing with it, and the stock one fits the best. For some reason, the M27 series and the 416 series, actually, when I think about it, are really picky with hop-up units, and I have found that the VFC hop-up unit, the rotary style, not the earlier versions, the rotary style seems to fit best and won't cause a lot of difficulties with your alignment and everything, putting it all together. So that's what I went with, and I am using a Prometheus purple bucking and a Prometheus purple flat hop nub for my setup. I do not R-hop guns. I don't think it's that much better of an advantage, especially just because of how I play. If I sat back like most people and tried to make 250-foot shots all the time, then that might be relevant, but just my play style, flat hop works just fine, and I like the performance of it. So the engine I am using is the Wolverine Gen 2 Inferno. I'm using the Spartan edition. Just simply, the premium edition is nice because of the Bluetooth ability and everything being really convenient to change your settings, but my settings typically, once I set them, they're good. I don't really change or deviate from them pretty much at all after I complete the build. But the engine I'm using is the Gen 2 Inferno. I believe this is probably, for the money, if it's still at the 285-300 mark, this is probably the most air efficient engine you can get, and to me that's a big thing because getting your air refilled is not the cheapest thing unless your site includes it in the entry fee or you have some scuba tanks. So it is a very efficient engine at that price point. You can't really beat it. I run it at a 25 RPS as far as the rate of fire setting, and I usually run it at 1.5 joules just so I can not have an engagement distance as long as I switch it to semi within 50 feet. Third Coast Airsoft allows that for their LMG platforms, and they're one of the only milsims as of right now when I'm making this video that allow the M27 to be ran as an LMG. So I run it at 1.5 joules, and I am running it at 84 psi, and that lands me right at 1.5 joules, and I run 3.2s to this gun. And of course, last but not least, the most noticeable thing on this gun is the red trigger. This trigger is by SHS. It is a blade trigger. It is not a speed trigger, and it is not tuned like a speed trigger. I don't need a speed trigger for this build for obvious reasons, but I like having different color triggers just because really they're available, and I don't know, I just like changing the triggers. So red SHS blade trigger finishes off this build. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll have more of these episodes coming soon. I'll try and keep them as a Monday video, as this one is. But I'll link some more gameplay with this gun in the description and in the end of the video. So be sure to stay tuned, and I'll have a lot more gameplay coming shortly. See you guys next time.
Over there. I didn't stop, except for the time I dropped my mag. That was the only time I stopped.
Of course you dropped. Oh, there's an inchworm. Hello.
Hi, buddy.
He'll give me good luck.
Put him in your hop-up. He'll shoot.
Oh,
no.
Well, shit.
Press F.